In the smoldering trenches of a war unlike any other in history, humanity fights for its very soul at the gates of hell. Forget the small battles of ancient tales. This is a brutal clash between the righteous fury of the faithful and the unspeakable horrors unleashed from the depths of the abyss. The stench of rotting flesh mingles with the smoke of brimstone, and the crushed bones of faithful and heretic alike pave the ground as soldiers, both blessed and damned, face off in a nightmarish stalemate for the soul of the world. Welcome to Trench Crusade, a world where faith can save or damn reality itself. Technology takes a twisted paranormal turn, and every inch of blood-soaked soil holds the key to humanity's survival. Choose your side and prepare to fight. Your shoulders bear the weight of all creation. Join me today, my friends, as we get into this incredible universe. We are taking a look at the Principality of New Antioch, the last bastion of humanity in the Levant. New Antioch cannot fall, as humanity's fate rests on its holy walls. The Principality of New Antioch is the shining beacon of faith amidst the demonic storm that crashed down on the world, holding the last embers of hope against the relentless enemy from the abyss. Within its ironclad walls are warriors blessed with divine technology, fanatics who walk the line between piety and madness, and a desperate populace clinging to their god. Will New Antioch repel the demonic hordes and reclaim their lost world, or will it crumble under the weight of its own burdens? Immerse yourself in the tale of this troubled city, where faith endures trials and humanity's destiny remains uncertain. For 300 years, the Principality of New Antioch has stood defiantly as the focal point of the church and the faithful, at the very edge of the shadow and smoke cast by the gate of hell. It is the home of all our hopes, the bulwark against the heretic forces, and the first line of defense against the devil's might. Should New Antioch fall, all of the Levant will be lost. War has never left this corner of the world. The ancient city of Antioch was destroyed by a mysterious demonic weapon in the year 1545, some say, by the hands of a traitor, but the faithful never gave up their positions in the ruins. Despite the lethal demonic essence emanating from the crater that was left behind, the garrison held on, even as the mighty Constantinople fell to the legions of Chimæres, the Marquis of Hell. Before it was destroyed, the ancient city of Antioch was always the first defense to be put to test. Thus it is no wonder that in the year 1559, the Sword Congress of Vienna agreed to rebuild and fortify the city, and that a yearly tithe is to be sent to New Antioch by all the faithful nations, though this levy rarely is in a form of coin. Instead, endless supply trains of foodstuffs, tools, ammunition, weaponry, machinery, and skilled workers and engineers come from across Europa and Mediterranean Sea, as well as the African dominions. Keeping the supply routes open is a constant game of cat and mouse, as heretic infiltrators and raiders harry the caravans and ships that allow the Principality to exist to this day. Since those days, New Antioch has grown to be the most important fortress city in the world, the sword and the shield of Europa and Africa. All the princes of the church and heads of the various states and domains who oppose hell understand that it is better to fight as many battles against the heretics away from their hearthlands. To this day, New Antioch has withstood 8 great sieges, and its famed walls with their 77 mighty towers have never been breached. This is partly due to hundreds of acolytes, metallic battle shrines with entombed devouts inside them that are embedded into the walls and keep a vigilant watch over the walls day and night. More than anything else, it is the volunteers who come to serve under the banner of Christ that ensure the continuous existence of the Principality. Thus, in the streets of the city, one can hear hundreds of languages and dialects, and witness hussars of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth brush shoulders with the last remnants of the Varangian Guards, or hear the sermons of a street preacher from Era extolling the soldiery of Ethiopia lay their lives for the cause, or see the church engineers procession taking their latest invention to be tested in the front lines. This all happens under the watchful eyes of the Office of Propagation of Virtue that tirelessly patrol the streets. While they are quite happy to turn blind eye to the revelries of soldiers, they ferociously persecute even the slightest deviation deviation from church doctrine. The execution of heretics is a weekly spectacle that draws immense crowds. Factories spew black smoke as newly constructed tanks roll out of the workshops. Foundries burn white-hot day and night in order to keep the artillery battalions, the pride and joy of New Antioch, at full strength. In the techno-laboratories of the city, the church toils away in creating the superhuman communicants empowered by the cloned flesh and blood of the Redeemer. Thousands of workers give their lives in horrific accidents and overwork each year, and great statues celebrating their sacrifices stand around the city. Despite all these preparations, it is the grim reality that the New Antioch could never withstand the full onslaught of the combined heretic forces. It is only thanks to the ferocious and bloody internal conflict amongst the devils that has allowed the Principality to stand to this day. The archdevils and princes of hell bicker and plot against each other, and only relatively rarely does one of them gain supremacy for long enough to mount a full-scale invasion. Even though the war has stretched for centuries with decades of nervous lull between great battles, the rulers of hell are immortal, and to them the war has barely even started. They are beings that have existed before there was time, and wish to savor the agony of the mortals who die in their millions. And thus the Great War rages on, sometimes with long years of silence followed by sudden, ferocious assaults. As the nominal supreme commander of all the faithful armed forces, the Duke of New Antioch is a title of unrivaled prestige and honor. But despite swearing fealty to the Duke, in reality troops from across all of Christendom who come to do battle against hell operate in units of their own and take commands from their own leaders. It is worth nothing that some soldiers renounce their citizenship and take up the cross and come to serve under Duke Constantine alone. Thus, the standing army of the Principality is the greatest single fighting force the faithful can muster, and those who serve on the walls of the Home of Hopes are rightfully proud of their lively. In recent years, the Duke has dispatched small forces into the no man's land to gather intelligence, look for artifacts of power, conduct raids on heretic forces, secure strategic strongpoints, and loot the battlefields for the wealth of coin and weaponry scattered across the tortured landscape that stretches between New Antioch and the heretic domains over the centuries. These war bands have to raise their own coin and are simply given commission by the Duke and have to muster their own forces. However, holy relics, great wealth, and fame across all the world ensures that there is a steady supply of ambitious leaders who are willing to risk all in the crucible of war. Competition for loot, supplies, artifacts, and information is fierce, and these war bands often come to blows not just with heretical forces, but with competing rivals and crazed trench pilgrims. Thus, the necropolis of Antioch overflows with the graves of fallen soldiers, but the proud flag of the Principality, blue as the sea and red as the blood, still flows over its ramparts. But for how long is anyone's guess? All the portents and reports of the scouting parties report only one thing. The heretics are marshalling for the largest offensive operation in history. The board is set and the pieces are moving. The Great War is beginning anew.